Welcome to SafeSoft Solutions MarketDialer demonstration segment 1 for the admin portal. Once the administrator has logged in, they will always land here on the Users tab. The Users section is a full listing of every active agent seat in your account with their user ID, name, user level, group, and links to user stats and modification pages. You can also click on the user ID, full name, level, and group column headers to sort the user listings by those different columns. Let me demonstrate that now. I'll click on the user ID first. You see how it changed it. Then the full name, you see how it sorted it there. And by level, it also sorts it there, and you can return it any way you want it. Now keep in mind that the group will not sort because your client ID will be placed here, and your client ID will be that same group each time. Next to that is the links, the modify link, the status link, the status link, and the time link. To the right of that is the expiration date of each seat. In your account, there will be a date there that the seat will expire. Okay, so let's move on. Now, you see here we've landed here at the list user, or the user's listing, as I mentioned. This is where you will always land. Now these two other submenus under the Users tab, Add a New User and Search for a User, are not functional at this time. If you wish to add a new user, you will click on the Billing tab and you will go through this process to subscribe to a seat and renew your seats, type of a thing. You will go through this process. You might want to check with your account executive on how to navigate this section. Okay, so let's continue on now. We'll go back to the Users tab here, and I will give you a brief description of some of the fields. Okay, the user ID. This field is where you put the user's ID number. So if I wanted to open up a seat, as in this example, I'll pick Agent 4. The user number, or what we refer to as the user ID, is pretty much predefined and cannot be changed. Yours may be something different than what you see here. The user ID number can be up to 8 characters in length and must be at least 2 characters in length, with no spaces or punctuations of any kind. We recommend keeping the user ID simple to make it easier to remember. The password. The field is where you place the user's password. It must be at least 2 characters in length with no spaces or punctuations of any kind. If you choose to change the password, that's easily done so by removing it and replacing it with something else, ABC123 as an example. That now, once you click either of the save buttons, will save that as the new password. Okay, the full name field is obviously where you can insert the agent's full name or first name or last name or something as seen here before you. The user level. This menu is where you select the user's level. You must be a level of 1 to log in. You must be a level of 2 or higher to take inbound calls. You must be a user level of 7 or higher to view reports. You must be a user level of 7 or 8 to get into the admin portal. Inside of the administration portal, or the admin portal, if the user has a user level of 7, they will be able to alter the options of users with a lower user level than theirs. Only users with the user level of 8 can view and modify their own settings. Be careful when assigning an agent a user level of 7 or 8. Okay, below that is you see the user extension. This can be used in some cases to hard code the extension that will be assigned to the agent. We will discuss some of these in more detail in later segments. So scrolling down past that, you have the campaign section. This is an important section to be pointed out to the administrator. Sometimes agents call up support or their account executive and say, I was told to work a certain campaign, as an example, this closer campaign, but I do not see it in my drop-down menu when I log in. Well, that's simply because the administrator did not choose the campaign, as I have done so here in the not added column on the right hand side, and then click the add button below to send it to the left hand side. You see it is now here on the added pane on the left hand side. And then once that's done, you'll have to click the save button to save it. Now when this agent logs in, they will see these three choices in the drop down to pick from. The agent can separate what agents use what campaign by simply selecting it again, sending it to the left, or selecting it and taking it back out and then clicking the save button. Again, this agent has now access only to these three added campaigns when they log in, and it will be there in their drop-down menu. So let's continue down to the agent interface options. In most cases, you'll not change these settings. They are pretty much set by default unless you choose to have a blended or a closer type of campaign, and blended meaning inbound and outbound. And that comes into the important section at the very last one here, just before the admin interface options, the inbound groups. Now, inbound groups is very important if you're going to have a closer type campaign, or if you're going to have a blended campaign, meaning both inbound and outbound. As you see here, we have two choices. The closer campaign, if you were going to assign this agent to be a closer, you would place a check in the box and then click the save button. If you were going to have this agent take inbound calls, as well as placing outbound calls, you would place a check in the box and click the save button. Or you could do both. Once you do this, when the agent logs in, they will now be presented with a little bit different screen than they saw possibly when they logged in before. It will be a green screen where they will have to select the closer, or Tweety in this case, and click it and send it to the right, and then click submit, thus putting them in these in groups. In this case, we refer to them as inbound groups. They are in groups. So let's go over where I just mentioned this agent can choose an in-group setting here. When this is set, and it's set to 1 by default, the agent interface option, if set to 1, allows the agent to choose the in-groups that they will receive calls from when they log into a closer or inbound or blended type campaign. Okay, so the hotkeys option is not working at this time. It's still in development. The scheduled callbacks field, as seen here. This agent interface option allows an agent to disposition a call as a callback and choose the date and time at which the lead will be reactivated. The default setting is 1 for active. We set by default the ability for agents to calendar a callback. The agent-only callbacks, as is seen here in the fourth field down, also set to 1 as a default, because in our service we set it up to make it that the agent is the only one who can call that lead back. So this allows the agent to see their callback listings and call them back at any time they are logged into the MarketDialer. This agent interface option allows an agent to set a callback so that they are the only agent that can call that customer back, as I said. The default setting is 1 for active. The next one is Agent Call Manual. Now, this agent interface option allows an agent to manually enter a new number into the system and call them, or to search for an existing lead and bring up that customer record and call them. This also allows the calling of any phone number from their agent portal screen and puts that call into their session. Your account executive or support personnel can activate this feature for you. As you see, it is set to 0 or not active at this time. Recording. This agent interface option can allow an agent to record their calls or prevent an agent from doing any recordings when they log into the MarketDialer. This option must be on for the MarketDialer to follow the campaign recording options set in the campaign modification screen. The default is 1 for active, as is seen. Transfers. This agent interface option allows an agent to do three-way calling and or to transfer conference calls or prevent an agent from opening the transfer conference section in the MarketDialer. If this is disabled, the agent cannot third-party call or blind transfers any calls. As you see, the default is 1 for active. We always allow agents, when logged into the agent portal, to use the transfer conference button and make transfers, bring in third parties to their conference room, and so on. Below that is the closer default blended. This user agent interface option simply defaults the blended checkbox to be checked on a closer type campaign login screen. The default is 0, meaning not active. If an administrator has set up a closer campaign, they might have to change some of these settings that are seen here. We will go more into that in later segments. And below that you can see the admin interface options. Typically, a user seat is not given admin privileges, meaning the administrator has a unique set of credentials where he typically or she typically does not log in to the agent portal, click resume, and take calls. That is an agent seat that needs to be logged into to take calls. So for the administrator users that are a user level of 7 or 8, these administration options allow you to set what the agents are allowed to do in the administration portal. Meaning, if I decided to give this agent a 7 or an 8 user level, I could now then go down to the admin interface options and give this particular agent seat some abilities to alter or delete campaigns, as you see, do various other things. We tend to keep agents away from this because of the trouble that they can cause in this situation. So typically an administrator is giving administrator training and an agent is given agent training. So I'm going to change this back to user level of 6, and I'm going to save all my changes here. So what we've discussed here is the user section in the admin portal, and we've gone over how to change a password, how to give them access to campaigns by sending them to the left or to the right, meaning if they're not added, it will not be in their drop-down menu when they log in. So this will conclude the segment 1 of the administration portal demonstration. Thank you for attending.